school with Graham.
And I went to college with Graham.
Graham and I used to play in a band together years and years ago.
We drifted into it as friends, really. I think that's the only way you could really make a band mean anything.
We used to force ourselves onto bills at Dingwalls and then get maced by bouncers and kicked about on the floor, stuff like that. But Damon sort of semi-managed us then because he was the mouthiest.
We weren't really supposed to be on the bill, but we just turned up and said we wouldn't leave the venue until they let us play. And they let us play, didn't they? I mean, I don't know why. Andy Ross came to see us from Food Records. I think that's why it was so important that we played, because we knew there was one person in the record business who was going to come and see us, and it was probably our only chance ever.
And so the band formerly known as Seymour changed their name to Blur and released their breakthrough single, There's No Other Way.
It was obvious from the moment that we did the drums on that record that it was going to be a hit record, so it was very exciting. I've always had that ridiculous self-belief, though, even since before we had a deal or anything. You know, we felt like we're off. We felt very strong at that point. We felt we'd had a vision of the future, you know, and we were convinced what we were doing was groundbreaking.
Our tour manager at the time said, oh, you want to watch out for this, you want to grab all the sleep you can now because you're going to be rushed off your feet. And then we weren't. I thought, oh, this is easy. It's pop star malarkey.
We wanted to confuse people and just completely destroy the fabric of everything at that point,
Yeah,
you know.
I think we're still going to, you know, still kind of hold allegiance to that. If he called it a manifesto, that was it. Just try and be as complicated as you can be.
You can get a lot further by pretending to be normal, though. You've got to fit in to get anywhere. There's no room for radicalism.
Pop scene, which we think is really a real step forward, and the record company are very, very, very kind of cautious about it, and it only gets to number 32, which is a disaster. At the point also where we've just come back from this mind-numbing tour, and we've got no money, and the press has written us off. So it's, you know, but we felt it was really good. Andy Partridge comes in to sort of start work on the second album, and it goes really badly. Yet another thing goes badly.
He was an extremely clever man, and I think he did give us some kind of sense of somebody incredibly very English.
He gave us another clue of what not to do. I mean, I think that's what experience is, isn't it? It's learning what not to do.
Well, we were just completely fed up with it. You know, the British media was completely swamped with American bands, you know, and not as a reaction to that, but more as a kind of revolutionary step forward in our eyes. You know, we just completely rejected any American cultural references.
Sunday, here again, tidy attire. You read the colour supplement, the TV guide. You dream of protein on a plate, regret you left it quite so late. Gather the family round the table to eat and not to sleep. Oh, the Sunday sleep.
Our record company their pants. They were like, you can't do this, this is what's going on, you've got to sound American. And the American record company were going, can we get Butch Vig in with these guys? They basically came down halfway through Modern Life is Rubbish to say, we think you've lost the plot. I was doing a bass take, and they came down and said, you know, this is, we're probably going to drop you. You know, but hey, get on with it.
I didn't really know that we were in any danger of being dropped by any labels. I think I was blissfully ignorant of that.
It was rejected by the American label. Well, rejected is probably too strong a word. We were just getting on with it, you know. It's a record company were flapping around us.
That was that we had absolutely nothing to lose. We'd just go with our instincts because no one else was encouraging us at all.
We nearly got chucked off the label, didn't we? Because Modern Life is Rubbish was so crap. I had to go out with Andy Ross from Food almost every night. Kind of, he was looking after us, wasn't he, a little bit? He'd be buying me a little bit of food and a beer and things like that. And inside he must be going and extraordinarily in lots of pain because he thought he was going to have to be chucking us.
That was our last chance. It's like, well, we'll let you finish this, and then if nobody buys it, you're off.
And they inadvertently invented Britpop.
Had my first panic attack about 2 weeks after Girls and Boys got into the charts.
It was a strange time. It did everything. Everything changed. The whole climate changed.
Yeah, and suddenly the record company are all saying that they invented us. Again, God bless them.
Musically, we were pretty adventurous, even though some of it sometimes was quite quirky. You know, it was odd.
It was kind of, you know, it was music designed to get to play really, really, really drunk. So it became, you know, it was not very exciting until you got really, really drunk, and then it was really great to play because it was just as stupid as you could get, really.
And Parklife got panned when it came out, and the reviews were awful.
What is known as
Although initially panned by the critics, the album, featuring guest vocalist Phil Daniels, scooped 4 awards at the 1995 Brits.
The winner of Best British Single as voted by the 1FM listeners goes to Blur, Parklife. Blur, Parklife. Blur in Parklife.
We won Best Video, Best Single, Best Album and Best Band.
It was initially it was kind of accepted as a sort of a slightly ironic but upbeat comment on British culture. When we won 4 Brits, that's when it went wrong. It just went too much over the other side. It became too popular, and if you become too popular, you just get over. At the end of a very kind of embarrassing and confusing night at the Brits, the last award was Best Band, and we won that as well. And it was, I think we were just like genuinely embarrassed because we thought the whole thing was farcical. How can you give everything to one? You know, they're supposed to be celebrating the whole you know, all the music in the country, and it's just worked. So we went up on stage, we shared this with Oasis, got back to our table, and they were just taking the piss out of us. And saying, oh, we'd never done that, if we'd have done that, whatever.
Well, that was the start of it, wasn't it? You know, nothing existed until then.
Two of Britain's most popular pop groups have begun the biggest chart war in 30 years. The Manchester band Oasis and their arch rivals Blur released new singles today, each hoping to reach the #1 spot next week. The music industry hasn't seen anything like it since the Beatles fought it out with the Rolling Stones in the 60s.
City dweller, successful fella, thought to himself, oops, I've got a lot of money.
Basically, we released a single on the same day because it was either that or a punch-up.
I'm really annoyed if we don't win.
They're not even Chaz and Dave. Chaz and Dave meant it. It's chimney sweeping music. We're the band of the people, always were, always will be. It's as simple as that. They might be the biggest, but they're not the best.
Getting to #1 with Country House was ultimately quite a sort of vacuous experience for us. It didn't fill us with, you know, the joy that we thought it would do.
He's got morning glory and life's a different story. Everything's going Jack and Jory.
Never room for more than one. I mean, that's the bad thing about Britain. You know, is that there has to be winners and losers. And
Yeah, in America it's totally different. They're all bloody
like
drinking together at the Spy Bar.
I met him in a crowded room where people go to drink away their gloom. He sat me down and so began the story of a child.
Britpop became embarrassing. You know, we were locked in on something that none of us were in control of. You know, our lives, it was more about our lives being taken out of our control.
The stereotypes, there must be more to life. All your life you're dreaming, and then you start dreaming. From time to time you know you should be going on another adventure.
Great Escape was where we took our version of what pop music is to its natural conclusion, and if we would have gone any further, we'd have gone mad.
I remember clearly when we finished Universal, me standing in a room with those three and going, I think that we shouldn't put this out, this is wrong, this is too much. And then all three of them going, this is great, we really should put it out.
This is the next century, where the universal's free.
Just wanted to get back to more of a sense that we ran our ship. And part of that probably, you know, everyone reacted in different ways. I mean, my feeling of it at the time was, well, we said we're going to do this work for this record, so let's do it.
Everything starts getting attributed to you, you know. You get all this stuff projected on you.
We had to make a drastic sort of change, and so I burnt Damon's record collection and put loads of this American stuff in its place, and he wrote loads of, I don't know, something like that. Damon just started exploring different music.
The follow-up to The Great Escape, the self-titled Blur album, marked a change in musical direction for the band, away from their quintessential English sound.
Well, at the time, I think everyone saw it as a bloody weird...
Commercial suicide was
very
basically
sort of obscure step sideways. You know, 2 steps sideways, 1 step
just
back.
like with Modern Life is Rubbish, really. We
found that if we made fairly small changes at the start, like we said, you know, we were going to play all the instruments, and we weren't going to have any other musicians on the record. Things like little changes like that. But by the time they kind of bubbled through the recording process and come out the other side, they made big changes to how the record actually sounded.
And when she lets me slip away, she tells me
I think we were just getting a bit more, we were just slowing down a bit. It all became really fuzzy, and I think in our own way every single one of us was just lost and floundering in life.
Wigging out.
Yeah. So it's just a case of just bringing it back to reality, really.
It's liberating, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just emotional, whether it's upbeat or downbeat.
I think at those points is when we really enjoy touring, when everybody's saying, "Forget it, lads. That's it. You passed yourself by date. It's interesting, very nice, and well done, but you know."
But the release of their next track proved the critics wrong, giving the band their biggest hit stateside.
I suppose it's got everything in the first 5 seconds. It's got the vocals and an enormous guitar and a rhythm. So it's perfect as a sort of, as a soundbite. It's immediately recognisable. Nicest thing about that was that it did well in America. I just don't feel like having to bother. It was really used to get to me, the fact that everyone used to say, "Oh, they're never ever going to do well in America." And though we didn't write it for America, I mean, it wasn't even going to be on the record, but the fact that it did well in America and we did it so quickly, and it was a real afterthought for the album anyway. I think sort of it made me feel a lot better.
March 1999 saw the release of 13, Blur's emotionally driven sixth album. Although inspired from a number of different sources, the media attention not unexpectedly focused on Damon's breakup with Elastica vocalist Justin Frischman.
All the songs are very personal and basically about loss and heartbreak and things like that. I think that's the first time that I really felt life was really so it's probably the first time that I was inclined to write anything like that. I think before that it was all, different. It was a different sort of approach and perspective on everything.
Come on, come on, come on.
We've given them a very honest record, and it doesn't sound like any other record. For me, that's enough.
Love's the greatest thing.
I'd made much more of a musician's contribution to this record, I think, because there was more improvisation and more scope for being a musician on this record. It was a lot more enjoyable.
The band enhanced their creative sound further by recruiting producer William Orbit, most notably acclaimed for his work on Madonna's Ray of Light.
I wanted him because he worked with the most famous women in the world. We thought he could do a nice kind of dance record for us.
We were lucky to find him, really. I mean, we liked the remixes that he'd done, but it was, he's got the same kind of preoccupation with music that we have. He's got an unhealthy appetite for it. He's got a childlike sense of adventure in sound. I don't know, he's up for it.
Come on, come on, come on. Get through it.
There are 8 producers. But he's kind of not like a producer. He's not disciplinarian. He's not a disciplined man. So I wasn't told to tune up my guitar, and I wasn't told that this hissing was a problem, and I wasn't told that there was too much distortion on this, or I wasn't told just to grow up like I have done in the past. So it was good. So I liked it.
Making music is a very experimental thing to do. It's kind of, you never know where you're going to end up. And I don't think you can start making a record and think, well, you know, we're going to do this, we're going to make this like this, we're going to react against that.